How's it going, guys? Today I'm going to be showing you how to make speed garage like Wax Thief. Wax Thief is a speed garage producer based out of Melbourne. He's pretty low key at the moment, so definitely check him out on Spotify and SoundCloud. Here's a preview of my remake of his track, Bashment Vibe. Great, as with most speed garage tracks, it's actually pretty simple to make. Great, so let's firstly have a look at the drums. So these drums are actually from my new Speed Garage Volume 3 pack. The pack has tons of loops, one-shots and effects for making modern day speed garage. It's got over 50 loops, so you can just drag and drop them in, so you don't have to make them from scratch like this. This particular loop is actually loop 38. So you can literally just drag and drop it, save yourself making it from scratch. But yeah, let's have a look at how it's made. Firstly, we have this kick. And then that's followed by, in the top loop, we have this clap. It's got a nice bit of reverb on it. And then there's a second clap. A hi-hat. And then this percussion loop. Let's have a look at the percussion loop. Obviously the claps and the hat is very simple stuff, but this percussion loop has a little bit more going on. So yeah, it's got this close, which is just chugging away. So that would also look like this. And then it's got this snare, which is sort of like a rim shot. So yeah, when you're making your own percussion loops, it makes it much easier when you're using a drum bus. So yeah, definitely give that a go. So yeah, if I was to make one from scratch, I'd create a loop like this. And then I'd also have the ones that I've dragged in. So I'd drag these in like so. And then I'd just sort of draw it in. And if you click this little headphone icon, you can... Obviously, that's not great, but you get the idea. Great, now we're going to move on to the bass. So the bass comes, obviously, in the pre-drop. And I've taken out some of the low end, as you can see. I've got this EQ, taking out anything below 200. And then I've turned the EQ off when it comes into the drop, so it just hits with much more like oomph. So yeah, the sound itself is made in Serum. Let's firstly look though at the MIDI. So it's pretty simple. It's hitting on the sort of first beat of every, like, which is pretty much the same as a kick. But I really like this thing where it comes up here and just plays up and down that same note. I mean, there's only, look, 3 notes in this whole sequence, but it sounds really nice and sort of original. So yeah, definitely take a few notes from this. So yeah, you could also steal that sort of thing and do it in your own track. For example, if we want to do an F sharp minor, so if you had a vocal from like Splice or whatever that was an F sharp minor, then you could copy something similar. Obviously don't copy the exact, but look, you could do something similar. Or you could make something like this. I mean, it's a little bit too similar, so you want to be careful that you're not copying exact, so maybe like change that last note. Take inspiration from people, don't copy them exactly, but definitely take inspiration. As they say, good artists copy, great artists steal. Great, and let's have a look at the sound design. It is actually a Serum preset from my Speed Garage Volume 2 Serum preset pack. The pack has over 60 different presets for making modern day speed garage. It's got all the good stuff, so it's got tons of basses, leads, plucks, loads of respaces, and those classic sort of garage warps. You can literally just flip through. They're all going to sound banging. Great, so let's show you how to make it from scratch. If you've already got the pack, then it's a Craven For You preset. But what you've got to do is click Initiate Preset, Digital, Harmonic Morph. Put the same thing in Oscillator B. We then want to connect the macro to these wavetables. So drag it like that. Make sure they're both all the way up to 100. We're then going to drag this up. Fine tune. So go about minus 26 plus about 30, anywhere around there. Now you might be thinking that still doesn't sound right. We've got to pitch these down by 2 octaves. Obviously, if your MIDI's a little bit higher, so say you're doing this in FL Studios, your MIDI might be a little higher up, as in like higher up the octave. So you might be on like D5 or something like that. And sometimes, yeah, people are like, oh, it doesn't sound right. It's because their MIDI isn't on the right octave. Then we're going to adjust this macro. We can also turn on a filter, turn all of that on. Drive. Select NG low 18, or you can go 24. I mean, we don't really need to add many effects. We can just go and add maybe a bit of reverb. Turn the decay down. And yeah, I mean, you pretty much just got to play around with your filter. So it depends how many high frequencies you want to let in. Just going to turn it down, it's a little bit loud. You could also turn this macro onto your filter like this. And you can sort of automate it, so if you come up here, macro 2, then you can automate it so it opens up at different regions. Or maybe like at the end of the bar like this, and you could have it maybe connected to the res. Just one last thing is go to the envelope and bring up a little bit of attack so I can hear a slight click. Great, and now we've got that, we can move on to the effects. So these are also from that Speed Garage pack, and these are in the Ragga effects, or these are like the white noise risers. You can literally use it from any pack. So that's just a riser and then a downer. But we have got this little cut out here, so we've cut out the bass, and there's just obviously a bit of a vocal overhang. But what we've got is a shotgun. So we've cut out the bass and replaced it with a shotgun. So if you hear it, it is quite a nice sort of feel. So yeah, that's just like a Ragga effect. You can literally just go on YouTube and find like shotgun sound effect or something like that if you've not got the pack. Yeah, I mean, have a look on YouTube, whatever, shotgun sound effect. Cool, and lastly, the vocal is ripped using LAI. So yeah, you just go on here, put the vocal in, and it will extract it for you. Great guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you next week for next week's Speed Garage video. See you later.